I stayed on the phone through my own breakup. And 8 years later, the callers play Rewrote How We Trained Crisis-Helplines. My name is Merrin. I keep a blue sticky note on my wallet with 3 ink dots. My breath map, in, out. When feeling stampede, I tap the dots and remember there is a way through that is not running. I worked the night shift on the 6th floor. Rows of headsets, mugs that promised more than coffee could keep, a whiteboard that said hold music, Bacher mercy. We were trained to ask, not instruct, to mirror, not magnify, to stay. At 2:07 a.m., my phone, my other phone, buzzed with a name that makes the mouth gentle. Elia. The text read like a polite car crash. I think we're done, Cal. I'm sorry. Please don't call. In my ear, another voice inhaled and forgot how to exhale. Is this anyone? He said. This is someone, I answered. Rowan, he said, the way you put a cup down too carefully. I set my breakup on the desk like a glass of water I would not drink. Okay, Rowan, I said. Let's not rush. What's the room doing? The room? Yeah. Name the room before it names you, I said, because sometimes the floor needs a narrator. He looked around his life and described it to me, a lamp that flickered on the 2 instead of the 1. A pile of laundry that smelled like the month refused to leave. A ceiling crack that ran like a map of a river that never made up its mind. He named the room, and something in his body learned English again. I watched the text from Elia sit like a second moon in my periphery. I pressed the mute and let myself whisper to no one. Stay with the caller, not the catastrophe. Okay, I said out loud. 3 beats with me, in, out. I tapped the desk click, click, and drew 3 dots on a blue sticky note. The kind I'd been saving for a reminder I hadn't earned yet. He matched me. Our breaths learned the choreography toddlers know and adults forget. My chest hurts, he said. Name the shape, I said. Like a fist? No, like a book being held shut, he said, surprising himself. What's the title of the book? I asked. He laughed, one sound, because a door had opened somewhere small. How to leave a party without wishing it back in your pocket. We stayed. We found the minutes under the minutes. He told me about a play he wanted to write and the part of him that refused to be cast. I told him about the sticky note with 3 dots and how sometimes the difference between a cliff and a curb is a friend and a flashlight. At 3:31, we planned for morning. Warm line numbers. A kitchen table packed to eat something beige. I asked him for one small promise he could keep with his hands. He said, I'll tape 3 dots above my desk, and if I can't write, I'll name the room again. We hung up like people who had learned to hang up without quitting each other. My breakup text still glowed. I didn't answer it. I breathed into the silence and let the night decide not to drown me. People think help is advice. Help is air. Rowan did not become a miracle. He became a Tuesday that kept showing up. Therapy waitlist said 10 weeks. He put a chair by the door of himself and kept the light on. He worked dish shifts and wrote lines on his wrists with a pen that bled through to the bones. He staged a 1-act in a shelter laundry room, washers spinning like round applause, an audience of 6 and a toddler who kept the rhythm without permission. He sent scripts, got no's, folded them into cranes he hung from a string. He collected phrases that worked like tools. Name the room, ask a question before you apologize. 3 beats is a bridge. I stumbled too. I almost left the line because I couldn't shake the feeling of having abandoned Elia or myself or everyone at once. My supervisor called it bleed over and taught me to keep a bowl of ice nearby for hands that needed a border. I wrote at 5 a.m. on a blog no one read. After midnight ears, how to listen without trying to steal the pain just to feel useful. Rowan messaged our anonymous feedback form months later. The 3 dots have their own gravity. He included a photo of his desk, index cards like runway lights, a sticky note with, and a sentence. Name the room until it names you kind. Years changed shape. He got into a community playwrights cohort. His new script, Hold Music, took place on a crisis line where silence is a character and the audience has to breathe on cue. He wrote a scene called Name the Room and another called Ask Me 3 Things. He kept the pen click, 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 click as the heartbeat under dialogue. He invited helplines to watch. Some did. They stayed on after the bows to talk, to fight, to confess they had forgotten their own breath. Then the headline landed like a careful gift: National Hotline Summit Pilots. Hold music as training core. They were going to stage it for trainers, supervisors, brand new volunteers who still believed their words could fix a flood. If it landed, modules would change. If it didn't, it would be theater and nothing else. The night before, my emergency phone rang at 1:12. A text said the soundboard was freezing. The file with the breath map cue, the soft click, click, click under the opening, kept crashing. Rowan was pacing, they said, rewriting lines without oxygen. I stood in my kitchen with the blue sticky on my wallet and the world asking a question without knowing it. 8 years after I stayed and lost a love in the same hour, I stood at the summit's back wall in a chair marked overflow. On stage, a row of phones that didn't connect to anything waited like props that remembered their former lives. Rowan walked out with shoulders the world had negotiated. He didn't know me. Why would he? I had been a voice in a dark, a 3-dot map. I saw the sound tech shrug, the screen freeze, the producer lift a hand. Start without the click. Rowan's jaw tightened. He lifted the receiver and nothing in his body wanted to begin. I did something small and not very brave. I stood up with an old volunteer's shamelessness and tapped my pen against the metal leg of the chair. Click, click, click. Again. Click, click, click. Rowan's head turned like a sunflower remembers where light lives. I lifted the blue sticky note. He saw the breathe it, I whispered, and a microphone too close to me caught it and threw it up to the rafters. He nodded once. One syllable of gratitude that didn't need a sentence. He placed the receiver between ear and shoulder like a violin he had practiced for years. Is this anyone? Said the actor on the line, a perfect echo. This is someone, Rowan answered. Let's not rush. What's the room doing? The room did as it was told. 300 people named it. Lights, seats, throat, supervision notes, a grief behind the left eye, a hope by the right hand. We were ridiculous, holy, and alive. He built the 3-beat into the blocking. 2 steps forward, 1 step where you wait, a hand over the belly to say there is a floor here. He turned apology into curiosity. What is the part of you that wants to stay? He let the audience learn to hang up well. The line about the book showed up again. What's the title of the thing in your chest? He asked. The actor said, How to Leave a Room Without Leaving Yourself Inside It. Somebody cried in row G the way a hinge sighs when finally oiled. By the final scene, the entire auditorium breathed. Together, pillared by a rhythm that did not dominate, only invited. Rowan put the receiver down with ceremony, the way you set a friend at a table, and bowed. Silence. Then the kind of applause that feels less like praise and more like adoption. The training director walked to the stage and did not make a speech. He held up a blue card with 3 dots printed on it and said, We begin here now. He announced updates. 3-beat grounding as day 1. Name the room as pre-de-escalation. Scripted ask me 3 things for supervisors when volunteers come in hot with ache. After, in the side hall that smells like paint and victory, people hugged without being sure if they were allowed. Rowan stood with donors and clinicians, the proud kind of overwhelmed. I stayed away. Then he saw the sticky note in my hand. Edges curled, ink faded like it had survived weather. He didn't say thank you. He did something better. He pulled a spare from his pocket, fresh blue, 3 crisp dots, and pressed it to my palm. So I don't carry this alone, he said. We didn't moralize the night. We breathed. The phones on stage glowed in their sleep like boats moored after heavy weather. I walked back to the 6th floor weeks later. New volunteers sat upright with the kind of fear that means they care. On the wall, a poster with the caption, Begin Here. Aaliyah wrote once, months after the summit, not to get back together, to say a friend had needed the line, and the person who answered had asked about the room. They were good, she wrote. It mattered. I placed my old sticky note in a clear sleeve at my desk, next to a small bowl of ice. I closed my eyes and listened for the room. It named me kind.